welcome back to Lead to Be Led, where I try to for you to think on for yourselves and not what's on social media, because 9 times out of 10, social media is telling you either a lie or half truth or twisted the truth. I know for a while there was this thing they call your truth and my truth. Well, actually, there's the truth. Your truth and their truth don't amount to a pot of beans. What matters is the truth. Oh, what happened in Minneapolis today is a prime example. I heard the police chief, he's trying to insinuate, because he said as far as he knew, the woman was just sitting there in her car. And he said that a few times. So he's trying to program you to think that ICE just pulled the guns out and shot her. And then, he said, I'm not sure what happened when she got shot, but as far as he knew, she was just sitting in the car. He's the police chief, damn it. He knew what happened. The woman tried to run over ICE people, and yes, they got every right to protect themselves. And they did. And this is, the second time that we've heard of, and evidently it's happened quite a few times. And unfortunately, other people didn't get shot. They was able to stop them. So there you go. The woman tried to kill him. They shot her, got rid of her. But according to Democrats, she was sitting in her car. I saw the pictures. The car was wrecked, so it's pretty evident that damn car was moving. And that's the problem. Democrats, for some odd reason, I hate to just call them out, but somebody has to. And we need to start standing up to them. And Cindy said, well, you're not going to change nobody's mind. It's not about changing people's minds. It's getting the word out, what being posted, like I said earlier, is truth or half-truth or lies, and getting what really happens out there, because somebody reading it, if they don't see the whole story, they're going to take the side what they're reading and take it as the truth, as their truth. So yeah, we need to buck them, because the Democrats now, they're socialists. That's what they are, and they're not far from communists. When I heard the acceptance speech of the New York mayor, I got really worried, because all I heard was same speeches that Maduro used in the past, what Hitler used, and Stalin, the same about word for word. And of course now some of the New York people that voted for him getting a little worried, because his tenant director, whatever her official title is, and I heard for her own words, she warned white people, even if you have families, your living condition is going to change. So what does that mean? That means they're going to use eminent domain, come in and take your property, and more likely they'll say, well, we'll rent your property, but that we took from you, but it's going to have to be double on what your mortgage was, yada, yada, yada. Or he'll go the other route. They'll say, this is low-income housing. And if it's a nice apartment, they'll have one of their buddies to move into it as low-end housing. And then they'll bill the U.S. government for what it would normally rent for, to pay the difference. It's a scam. That's all it is. So nobody wins, except for the socialist communist mayor and his buddies. That's long and short of it. That's the truth of the matter. So now some of these people, like who voted for him, is getting worried. Well, you asked for it. I mean, people make remarks. Well, that's not what he said on campaign trail. Well, look what he said right before the campaign trail, people. Think for yourselves. It's not that hard. Yeah, I started to lean to the right, but I still think for myself. I mean, is there things Trump does I don't like? Oh, sure there is. There's some things I wish somebody you shouldn't be saying that. Sure there is. But at the end of the day, look at what's happened. Our borders closed, which Democrats for years saying it's impossible, but he closed it. Prices are starting to come down, gas and food. Of course, people say, well, they're not coming down that much. We had 4 years of Biden that jerked them prices way in the hell up. So, no, it's not going to come down. And to be honest with you, in some places, it's not going to come down that much. See, I'm a realist. When you have somebody flipping burgers at McDonald's and getting $15 an hour to flip burgers, the price of their hamburgers is not going to come down so much because they're in business. They are there to make money. They're not there to just give away hamburgers. So yes, their price is going to go way up, unfortunately. But that's what happens when you start fooling around with things. Minimum wage is just a starting wage. That's all it is, just starting wage. Shoot, when I was younger, minimum wage was $1.69. And I didn't even make that. I worked for a grocery store on the weekends and I made $1 an hour. And I was tickled for it. But, you know, like McDonald's, that's the entry-level job, supposed to be. And then you go, you know, you grow up and you go to a profession or whatever. So you take a small town like Columbia, it's a shame that somebody flipping burgers making $15 an hour, and somebody has a trade, they're making $20. Now, in my book, that's not right. Somebody goes to school and all learns a trade, and they're getting only $5 an hour, and some person flipping burgers? No, that's not right. But like I said, what's it going to take for things to get back on track? I don't know. I don't have the answers. All I could do is encourage you to think for yourselves. That's all. And not take anything for the facts. You know, here's a prime example. Maduro in Venezuela. We went in and finally arrested him. Of course, Democrats raising hell. Of course, in 2020 there was raising hell why Trump wasn't going in after him. Now he got him after Biden added another $25 million reward for him, but Biden didn't do squat. He was too busy asleep taking a nap. So, you know, Trump goes in, gets him, and now everybody, same people said Trump should have went and got him in 2020s, raising Cain because he got him. But what I'm getting to is, you got a friend in Alabama who's trying to make Maduro sound like this angel. Oh, no drugs coming out of Venezuela. Well, of course, I think she took it as mocking her. It took me all of 3 seconds, however fast it took to type on my phone, to find out what happens is other countries ship the drugs to Venezuela, and Venezuela ships the drugs to the United States and Europe. But anyway, she got an argument with a friend of mine in Chile, who that country's had personal experience with Maduro, and trying to tell him he don't know what he's talking about. This is a guy who lives it. Of course, he just flat out asked her, "Are you a communist or what?" Because she won't let it go. I mean, you're trying to argue a point with a man who's lived it. Something wrong with that. think the world over, but she needs help. Because when you're trying to argue a point with a man who's lived it and knows firsthand knowledge what's going on, and trying to tell him that he doesn't know what he's talking about, you got a problem. I'm sorry to say. That's the truth of the matter. So people, like I say, you got a choice. You can either follow people around nose rings and keep seeing this crap that's half lies and thinking America's terrible when reality is not, about the best country that we have. And some people say, well, we want to go, some people want us to go back the way it was in the 50s and early 60s. My thoughts on that, so what? What if we did? I'm not talking about race relations. I'm talking about everyday life. Because that's when grew up as a kid. As an 8-year-old, I was jumping on Dusty, and we'd take off. We'd ride all over the county as an 8-year-old. My parents didn't have to worry about somebody snatching me up or anything. And we get there, but everybody's got to pull together and quit being so worried about being right. I mean, one thing, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. What's bad is when you're wrong, but you're still trying to make your case that you're right. Which that leads me to another episode of Lead to Be Led. So I'm signing off. I got things to do. And you can see me also on YouTube at True to Horse, where I just work horses and no politics. That's my promise. One thing I do there, once in a while, I try to come up with a tidbit. Just say, look at yourself and better yourself. I guess this is the same thing. So, as I always say, be true to yourself, people. And think for yourselves. So, God bless. Take care.